Have you ever looked at your life and felt that despite having achieved everything, your heart was empty, as if you were living a life that wasn't yours, in a body that moves by inertia, but with a soul that's crying out for help? There's a void in the soul that money can't fill, a hole that success can't heal. Millions of people are living with this same emptiness. But what I'm going to tell you today isn't about healing that emptiness. It's about the morning prayer that's revolutionizing the faith of thousands. I saw this prayer transform the life of a woman who on the outside was the embodiment of success, but inside was crumbling. What she discovered may be the key you need to unlock your true prosperity. The story is about Julia. At 35, Julia seemed to have the perfect life. A renowned architect, she moved through the corridors of glass buildings with the confidence of someone at the top. Her salary was enviable, her apartment a model of minimalist design. She traveled to international conferences, wore designer clothes, and had a diary that was a collection of important meetings. But if you looked closer, you saw the exhaustion in her eyes. Makeup hid deep, dark circles. Her smile, perfect for photos, never reached her eyes. Her faith, once a pillar, had become an empty routine. A quick prayer, said quietly, more out of obligation than desire, before going to bed, too exhausted to have a true dialogue with God. Julia's life was a high-speed race car, but she didn't know where she was going. Destination was the only thing that mattered. The race for more money, more success, more recognition, but her soul, the engine that drove her, was failing. She began to feel the weight on her body, constant headaches, chronic insomnia, stress that manifested itself in palpitations. The turning point came one morning. She was getting ready for an important meeting when the world around her began to spin. She felt an overwhelming dizziness, and her tired body simply gave out. She collapsed onto the floor of her marble bathroom, feeling like a complete nothing. At the hospital, the diagnosis was clear: burnout syndrome. The doctor was direct, with a voice that echoed in her head. Julia, you need to stop. You need to change your life. It's not your body that's breaking down, it's your soul. You can't go on like this. Those words were a punch in the gut, a brutal truth she refused to accept. But as she lay in that cold hospital bed, staring at the dull white ceiling, she realized the doctor was right. She had everything, but she didn't have herself. And most painful of all, she felt completely alone, abandoned by God. She couldn't feel His presence. The faith she once had become lifeless. During this period of forced rest, Julia, with nothing else to do, began reading. She found an old book by an author who talked about a morning prayer that changed her life. It wasn't about asking for miracles, but about alignment. The author said that morning prayer was the compass for the day, the way to synchronize the heart with God's plan. Julia, in her desperation, decided to give it a try. She didn't believe it would work, but what did she have to lose? The next day, she got up, went to her window, and with the sun rising, began praying the revolutionary morning prayer, which had 3 parts. The first part was the prayer of gratitude. She gave thanks not for the things she had, but for the things she had neglected. Lord, thank you for the sun that rises, for the air I breathe, for my body that still sustains me. Thank you for my family, for my friends, for life. Thank you for giving me a new chance. Gratitude, she realized, was the language of abundance. Gratitude forced her to shift her focus from what she lacked to what she already had. The second part was the prayer of surrender. She closed her eyes and surrendered her day. Lord, I surrender my day to you. I surrender my worries, my anxieties, and my responsibilities. I place my future in your hands. May your will be done, not mine. It was an act of total and complete surrender, the opposite of what she had done her entire life. She felt the weight lift from her shoulders, a lightness she hadn't felt in years. The third part, the most powerful of all, was the purpose prayer. She didn't pray for a new job. She prayed, "Lord, I know you have a purpose for my life. Show me how I can be useful to your kingdom today. Use me to be a blessing in someone's life. Show me your will, and I will do it." It was a prayer that wasn't about her, but about him. Julia prayed this prayer every day, and her life didn't change all at once. It changed in small steps. One morning after praying, she felt an overwhelming urge to visit a poor community in the suburbs she'd heard about on a podcast. She felt an intuition, and upon arriving, she saw a group of children playing on a crumbling playground. She saw a community in need of help. Without hesitation, she volunteered her time and talent. She used her architectural background to design a safe and welcoming community space for the children. Her work, done for free, with the sole purpose of serving, caught the attention of an NGO. The NGO was impressed by her passion and talent. They offered her a partnership, a massive project to build community centers in several cities across Brazil. And the salary was much higher than she had ever earned. But what mattered to Julia was no longer the money. It was the purpose. She discovered that true prosperity lies not in the accumulation of possessions, but in purpose, in generosity, in the joy of service. Julia discovered that the revolutionary morning prayer was not about what God could do for her, but about what she could do for God. She didn't pray for financial blessings. She prayed for a heart aligned with God's purpose. And prosperity came as a natural consequence, an unexpected gift. She discovered what God says in Jeremiah 29:11, "For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future." The plan was there all along. She just needed to align with it. Do you believe this really happened? Have you ever experienced something similar? If this story touched you, if you feel like you need a new direction, it's no coincidence that you've reached the end of this video. This is your calling. I invite you to join us. Subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications so you don't miss any videos, and leave your comment below. I trust in the purpose. Share this video with someone who needs new hope, because when we share the blessing, it multiplies. And I'll see you in the next video.